Day 5 at the Diddy hearing, and we just concluded the testimony of critical witness Cassie Ventura. You're likely aware of the fact that Cassie Ventura is a longtime girlfriend of Diddy, dating on and off for a period of 11 years in 2007, 2018, and she was one of the two individuals that the government is claiming was trafficked by Diddy. We were in the middle of the second day of cross when we broke for lunch, and after lunch there wasn't much headway that the defense managed to get in trying to break down her story. The one nugget that they got from her is she admitted that the videos that the government introduced as exhibits, which were actual videos from the infamous freak-offs, came from her own broken cell phone devices and broken laptops. And the defense made the point, those videos were from 2012 and 2014, isn't that correct? Yes. And you were still holding on to them a decade later, isn't that correct? Yes. Well, that was a point that would be brought up and addressed on redirect. I just want to read to you the final question that was asked on cross. And that was a text exchange between Diddy and Cassie, where Diddy said, "You want to freak off one last time?" And she responded, "What?" And he said, "You can't read?" And she said, "I don't want to freak off for the last time. I want it to be the first time for the rest of our lives." And she said, "That's what it says." And the defense said, "No further questions." Well, right away, the state on redirect jumped up and said, "Let's read a little bit further there," and they read further text exchange messages where she is explaining to Diddy that she is feeling emotional, that she's getting off of her meds, and that she just was dealing with a UTI, and that she never wants to have another freak off again. They also addressed the issue with respect to the cell phone, saying, "Why did you hold on to those broken cell phones for 10 years? And she said, "I knew there were videos on there, and I was afraid I couldn't take it to an Apple store because I was afraid that someone would find the videos on there, and I wasn't able to get a chance to delete them." So she was afraid to have them fall into the public's hands. The state did a fairly strong job of buttressing up whatever issues they felt was knocked into her testimony. And the really key thing that they landed was they were talking about the incident that happened when she was flying back from Cannes to New York, and they had just gotten into a big fight while they were in Cannes. While in Cannes, Diddy accused her of stealing drugs from him and got very angry with her, threw her off a boat, and then they were at a premiere together, and he was allegedly squeezing her leg like really hard throughout the movie. And then when they were flying home, she tried moving seats away from him. After she moved seats away from him, he followed after her and managed to sit next to her. And she said for the entire flight from Cannes to New York that he opened up his laptop and was playing a video of her freak off right there on the plane in front of everyone, or anyone who would pass by at the very least, and that he threatened her that if she doesn't do what he wants, he's going to release those videos. And so this incident was brought back up. It came up initially on direct, came back up on cross, and now on redirect. The state brought up and said, "What did you do that night when you got back from Cannes? We did a freak off. And why did you do that? Why did you do that?" "Oh, because I was afraid." "And what were you afraid of?" "Well, I was afraid he was going to release videos if I didn't do what he wanted." "And was there anything else?" "I was also afraid he was going to get angry." "And what happens when he gets angry?" "When he gets angry, he gets violent." Now, that was the first real time, that's really the first incident that Cassie specifically identifies. This is a night that I spent engaged in those encounters where I did not want to do it, and the only reason she did it was because she felt that she had no choice. She talks throughout her testimony about how she was coerced and compelled, but it often is laced in with this aspiration of getting Diddy to show her love and spend time with her. And that might make it difficult for the jury to actually convict him of trafficking. However, at least now the state has an opportunity to point to no less than one night that we know for certain that she felt compelled based on his conduct earlier that day, she felt compelled to perform in a freak-off and engage in a sexual encounter with a stranger. She also said that she never wanted to have sex with any other man throughout the relationship during the entire time other than Sean, and that she was continually seeking and craving attention exclusively from him, and that she never wanted to be with any of these other men. And that was designed to displace the notion that the defense was trying to plant in the minds of the jury, that she was that she was sexually adventurous or was looking to engage in these adventures for her own personal benefit. Now, on recross, I should tell you, there was an electric moment which made the entire audience gasp. And they gasped harder on this than anything I saw throughout the 5 days that we've had trial so far. And that is that on recross, the defense brought up and asked her if she is expecting any more money out of this case. Now, on redirect and on direct, she had said she stands nothing to gain from this case, that she has nothing pending, she has no lawsuits pending, she stands nothing to gain on the outcome of this case, and that's a critical thing that the prosecution will frequently ask witnesses in order to help show that they're not tainted by some sort of financial bias or an incentive that if they help in a conviction here, it's going to help them personally. And she had said both times that no, I have nothing to gain here. But the shock and gasp came from when she was asked about whether she had a lawsuit with the Intercontinental, and she admitted that she did sue the Intercontinental. And she asked if she got paid money from the Intercontinental, and she said no. She said, and then the follow-up from the defense was, are you anticipating any money? And she said yes. And then she was asked how much. She's like, I'm not sure. Can you ballpark it? And she said around $10 million. That caused the entire room to gasp. Now, then there was another redirect, a second redirect, where the state brought back up and said, but you stand nothing to gain from this case. Is that not true? Yes. You have nothing pending. Yes. So whatever the outcome here, everything is exactly the same for you. Yes. And then there was one last question from the defense before she was able to step down, and that was, when did you reach your settlement with the Intercontinental? Wasn't that last week? And she said, no, it was a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month. And just when that question was asked, I'll tell you that the room I was in, which is not the courtroom, it's a viewing room meant for journalists and reporters or those interested in following the case, there was a very loud gasp of shock from the entire room. Now, does that affect her testimony? That's for the jury to decide. Does that implicate anything? Does that mean that she was not trafficked? From a legal perspective, you would think that it doesn't have any impact on this case. But we need to recognize the fact that the law and legal impact does not necessarily translate into how people feel emotionally. So I'll let you weigh in. Do you think the fact that she got $20 million from Diddy and additional $10 million from the Intercontinental should have any impact on this? Please drop a comment below. I'm really curious about your thoughts on this. I'm Good Logic. I'm reporting on this every single day. I'm here in the courtroom. I'm a New York litigator, and I'm providing a type of coverage that you're not going to find anywhere else. If this is the sort of thing that is of interest to you, please make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell. Till next time, Godspeed.